Welcome everybody to another motocross action video. I'm Josh Mosiman and this is the 2025 KTM 150 SX two-stroke. This bike is all new for 2025. The last 2 years since KTM went fuel-injected two-strokes, they have not made a 150 two-stroke, and we're excited to shake it down here today at Perris Raceway. The KTM 150 retails for $8,449, and yes, KTM went fuel injected in 2023. For 2023, 2024, they focused on their 125, their 250, and their 300 two-strokes, but they did not bring in the 150 model. Now, guys like me who raced the World Two-Stroke Championships in the 150 class missed this bike for the last 2 years. Now we're excited to finally have it back for 2025. It's built off of the 125 platform. It's basically a KTM 125 with just a different 150 top end and also different mapping in the ECU. So today we have Jake Alvarez and his brother Tristun Alvarez gonna ride this bike here at Perris Raceway. They both have a lot of experience on the KTM 125 and 150 platform. Tristun races the 125 and 150 full time. My shoulder's still healing up, but man, I can't wait to ride this thing. So it wouldn't be a proper test of the KTM 150 if we didn't have a 125 to compare it with. So we had our 2024 model. We're getting ready to swap it out for a new one. It has the old mapping from 2024. It's the same stock KTM 125 engine for 2023 and 24. So we had that bike here to compare with the 150 SX. So fun times having those guys shake down both bikes here at Perris. Had both Alvarez brothers, Tristun making his MXA debut for the first time today. Tristun races 125s, 150s full time, and you guys do the NGPC and Works off-road series here on the West Coast. These guys are both extremely fast, and Tristun, you raced the 23 KTM, the fuel-injected bike when it came out last year. Then for 2024, you switched over to the 22 model. You're more comfortable on that. We'll talk about that later. So you've been riding the carbureted bike. What was it like to get on this brand new 150 fuel-injected two-stroke today?
Yeah, I definitely think that there's big improvements on the 2025 since the 23s have been out, and I think the biggest thing for me is the response in the motor. I mean, the 23 motors were good, but this 150 definitely blows it out of the water.
Big change for 2025 was mapping. What could you notice even specifically on the mapping with how clean the bike rode?
The 23s definitely fell on its face on the power curve once you're getting like fourth gear area. This bike definitely has a more of an incline of a power curve all the way through to the end, and it's super snappy off the bottom end, and I really like that about this bike.
All right, Jake, so now your turn. You haven't been riding two strokes and you haven't been riding the 125s in a while. You've been sticking on the 254 stroke. So what was it like today to run the 125, the 24 model, and then to get on this updated 150 model as well?
To two-stroke it. I think everyone loves two strokes. I mean, I was stoked to be here to ride one. But from the 23 and the 24 models, definitely a huge improvement on the 25s. Just the throttle positioning, like out on the track, like you could just feel very like nimble how that throttle is out there. But from only like an hour in, the bike felt super amazing. Like you didn't have to take 10 hours just to break in the bike. You know, I felt like right at home almost.
Yeah, so the big change for 2025, and this bike gets the same updates that the KTM 4-stroke's got. It's got the new frame, so it has the cutouts in the shock tower mount. It's got the new engine mounts, which flex a little bit more. It's also got less material on the side spars here coming down on the frame, and the linkage is made different as well, just to soften up this bike and make it more comfortable. So that was one thing that I appreciated that you guys said, like, man, this thing feels like it's already broke in. Today we're riding a hard pack kind of blown out track. They rode here on Sunday, and then we come here on Monday. They threw some water down and we got to go rip it up. So not like perfect track conditions, but you appreciated the extra comfort of this bike?
Yeah, you know, it kind of felt like a little desert track, dry out there and everything. So it kind of felt like I had my natural habitat. Bike just gelled in the track. It felt so good out there.
So right away when we showed up here, Jake noticed the gearing. The 150 has a 48 tooth on the rear sprocket, 1348. The 125 is a 1351. What were your thoughts on that?
So with the 25, I was really expecting like maybe like a lot of boggage out of the corners and stuff, and not enough power, maybe not enough grunt. I was very surprised on it. Like, instead of like on the 24, I had a downshift twice in some of the corners, but on the 25, it was just downshift once and you're good to go. It just pulled out of the corners very well.
So that's what you get, 150, 25 extra cc's, and you can pull that 48 rear sprocket. It's pretty impressive. That's what I ran on our Pro Circuit built 150. So for this to be able to pull a 48 is impressive.
Yeah.
The big decision you have to make if you're watching this video between a 125 or a 150 is, what classes are you racing in? Are you racing in stock classes and you're trying to qualify for Loretta's and do schoolboy? Then you would need a 125. But if you're like these guys and you're racing off-road, or if you're racing more local stuff and you could ride a 150, there's not as many classes to race it in, but it is a superior bike. What on the track do you feel got the difference is, Tristun, between the 125 and the 150?
Definitely feel like the 125 is a whole lot smoother throughout the course, definitely smoother in the corners, but this 150, it's so snappy out of the corners. Like, it's the perfect motocross bike. When I hop on it and I come out of a corner, it just rips a corner. And when I'm on the 125, you have to be super smooth, like through the whole corner, and carry a lot of more momentum on the outsides. On this 150, you can go and hit an inside rut and you can pull that 125 even if they hit the outside.
I think it's a pretty big difference. You know, with the 125 stock, it might have like a little bit more oomph out of some corners, but the 150 is just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just more of just a gradual pull all the way through. And that will definitely feel a lot better in the longer run. And yeah. I think it will be less tiring for those longevity rides, or even those short motos too. It just definitely helps out.
So one thing we always got to test with KTMs is the vented air box. Getting more air in the intake obviously helps with the engine. So for you guys today, you weren't expecting it, but what did you feel going back and forth between closed off air box and the vented air box?
Yeah, usually I don't really feel anything on the air box. I kind of just feels the same on any other bike, but this bike definitely opens it up more, and I felt like in the corners it just pulls all the way through, and it just opens the bike up completely.
Yeah, what about shifting points, Jake? What do you think about vented air box versus closed off?
The closed off one, it was almost like, kind of funny saying it, but I almost felt like it unsettled the bike almost. And then when you put on this the vented one on, it just felt like the bike was just settling in everywhere. The shifting was, you didn't have to short shift almost. It was like you can ride those gears a little bit longer.
All right, so Jake, what do you normally run on your KTM race bike and the forks?
I run the cone valves. I've tried the KYB and I've tried other stuff, but I've just been more happy with the cone valves, just more settings to tune with. Was never a huge fan of air forks, but on this 25, I was actually pretty impressed with it. The forks felt pretty good. Coming in the corners, it wasn't like a super divey or like it wasn't progressive feeling. It felt really good all the way through.
So one big change for 2025, KTM updated the mapping on these two strokes, which is very, very important. Now that they're fuel injected engines, you're not jetting the carburetors anymore. Now you're mapping ECUs. So mapping has been updated. Before, the green map was kind of boggy. It was supposed to be a safety map if you're riding on really wet or muddy conditions, but you couldn't ride with it. Tristun explained too, you couldn't ride with the green map. So I was really impressed that both of these guys rode with the white and green map. White is more aggressive, green a little more mellow. You guys actually like the green map, right, Tristun? Because the track's a little bit hard pack and slick. How did that help you gain traction?
Yeah, I definitely like that green map more, which is really weird because I was super skeptical even putting it on the green map at first because of bad luck before on the 23s and it wouldn't even run. But they've definitely made huge improvements on this mapping, and out here at Perris with all these hard slick corners, I really like the green map. It mellowed it out just enough so your rear end was just getting traction everywhere, and I feel like the white map was just a little too much for the hard pack stuff.
So overall, a lot of fun today with watching these two guys go back to back on the 125 and 150. The big things you guys need to know is that these new two-strokes from KTM, there's not a lot of modifications available yet. Because of reliability issues, there's not a lot you can do to the engine. And also the ECUs are locked, and you're not supposed to modify the ECUs, but there are multiple companies and multiple people that have cracked the code on them to move the rev limiter around and to adjust kind of the mapping to make these things run better, but that at the same time, KTM won't fix the engine for you if it blows up after that. So KTM did make a huge step forward by introducing fuel injection to the two-stroke market, but then also took a couple steps backward at the same time because it made it a little more expensive and a little, less user-friendly. So that's been one reason why Tristun, went back to the carburetor bike. That's one reason why I raced a carbureted Pasha 152 stroke at the World Two-Stroke Championship last year. So lots to learn on with these things, but it is a huge plus that the mapping was a lot better today, and we're excited to put more time on this KTM 150. This is technically our first impression video on this bike, and this year we're going to put a lot of time on it. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Tristun and Jake, for riding today. Lots of fun seeing these guys wear matching gear and rip two-strokes around Perris. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video.